3 nights ago, I was attacked, essayed, and almost raped. And yet, I couldn't be more grateful for the experience. I'm gonna get to why that is at the end of the video, so I encourage you to stick around because there's also going to be a channeled message and activation for you, especially if you are someone who has experienced SA, especially if you are someone who has experienced it in your ancestral line, even if you don't personally have that experience yourself, okay? First off, I feel completely stupid that I have to use the terms SA and raped instead of just saying point blank what actually happened, because, you know, freedom of speech is a thing we have, right? And that is not okay with me. It is really not okay in this PC culture that we live in, that we want to pretend, the culture, the overculture at least, wants to pretend that it's all butterflies and rainbows. And it's not. There's a lot of fucked up shit happening, and we deserve to be able to use our voice and to talk about it and to express it and to integrate it through our words, okay? So that's not okay with me, and I just wanted to make that clear. Second, trigger warning. But I want to invite you, if you are immediately like, oh, trigger, stick around, because like I said, there's going to be a powerful channeled message and activation at the end of the story. And I sense it could really help you if you are especially the type of person that would be triggered by this sort of story. So please just bear with me and know that triggers are always, always, always an opportunity to integrate, to heal, and to grow and go to the next level. With that said, let's get to it. So I had been working all day and I hadn't had a chance to leave my tiny studio apartment. And being the serial fire sign that I am, I always need to have some sort of physical activity, some sort of exercise every day to discharge that energy so I can sleep. So even though it was late, it was around midnight, once I had finished with my work, I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a walk in my neighborhood, as I've done many, many times before. And I walked for maybe 10, 15 minutes to my local park that's right across from a big train station. So I got a hit to extend my walk into the park, which, you know, on the surface was stupid. It was totally dark in that park, and I even stopped at the edge of the park and I could kind of feel the energy. Not only was it like physically dark, but it felt like there was dark energy. And yet something within me pushed me forward and compelled me to continue walking into this dark, scary park. I wasn't walking but 1 minute or so when I noticed a person walking behind me. Out of nowhere, they seemed to have materialized, and they're carrying a light in their hand and walking at a brisk pace. And immediately I tensed up and was like, oh shit, that's sketchy. I'm a woman walking alone at night, oh God. But I brushed that down, I brushed that aside because I'm like, you know, have positive expectations, Hannah. Think the best in people, expect the best in people. Probably there's someone out for a little exercise just like you, which is why they're wearing the coat that they're wearing. They're walking at this brisk pace. But still, I do have some better judgment. And I was like, I still don't like the idea of this person walking behind me. So I stepped off the walking path to the side. And I started to call a friend on my phone just in case something were to happen. And before I knew it, I was grabbed from behind, and I grappled with this man who was, as it turned out, much taller and stronger than me. And we were grappling and fighting, and immediately, I will say, you never know how you're going to interact in these situations. You never know how you're going to react. You have ideas of how it might go, and then you don't know when it happens to you. I was pleasantly surprised that this crisis immediately awoke my inner dragon. I became a fucking dragon. I was roaring, I was screaming, I was fighting viciously. I was tearing at him, and we fought, okay? We fought, we grappled. And then finally, I missed a step somewhere, and he grappled me to the ground, and I noticed the sky as I was tumbling down to the ground as I lost my footing, and I was like, oh shit, this is where it ends. This is how it ends. So I'm on the ground, and now this guy is on top of me with his full weight, and with one hand he's like pushing into me, digging into me, and with the other he's going down to my lady parts, okay? And friends, I was so fucking angry. I was so angry that this is how it was gonna end for me. I could feel the rage, the anger of every single woman who's ever experienced SA, and that powerlessness. And I screamed, and I yelled, and I fought. And I remember, I'm trained in martial arts and self-defense. I immediately went for his eyes, and I could feel my fingers kind of like squishing in his eyes, and time kind of slowed, and I saw an opening for, let's say, a kill shot, and I decided not to take it. I don't know why exactly, just that I didn't want to take it. I didn't want to be that person this time. I've been a soldier in many past lives. I have past life memories of, ending others' existences, and I don't want to be that person anymore. So I chose not to take the shot. And then I was pinned deeper, and his attack got stronger, let's say. And I looked up between the trees. The moonlight was shining, and I could see some stars. And I felt the entire collective of not just women now that have experienced SA, but men too, boys, girls, everyone that has experienced SA. And I called upon my higher self and my spirit team and my twin flames higher self on God, on the universe. And I channeled the screams that were getting progressively further away because I was dissociating from my body at the time. I channeled those screams into a single tangible word. Help, I said. Help. And it wasn't a plea. It wasn't a cry. It didn't come from powerlessness. It was a command. It was a fucking intention. And in that moment, as I looked into this man's wild eyes and I could feel his hands on my body attacking me, pushing me further and further into the dirt, I could feel that it was going to be okay, that I was safe, that we all are safe, that it gets to end now. And not 20 seconds later, I notice a light out of the corner of my eye. And this man's eyes above me flash with terror, and he jumps back. He jumps up, brushes himself off, acts casual, and he approaches the person on the bike. And then I look at them in dread, knots my stomach. And I get the thought, what if they're working together? What if they're both about to come after me now? And I reached for my phone that had fallen a little further away when we got in this tussle. And I grabbed it. And wow, this is taking longer than I expected. So cliffhangered, friends, I'm gonna do a part 2. And on YouTube, I'll just splice together that part with this one so you can keep watching. Either way, whether you watch part 2 or not, I'm sending you so much love on your journey. The darkness is getting stronger. You stay strong within yourself. You are so much more powerful than you know. So I had grabbed my phone from the ground as my assailant was talking to the biker, and I kept them both in my sights the whole time, starting to back away. And they were talking in German because, if you didn't know, I actually live in Berlin, and that's where this happened. They were talking German. And then all of a sudden, the assailant lunges for me again. And I hold my ground this time. And he reaches for my phone, and he grabs at my phone. He tries to take my phone. And he says, "Das ist mein Handy," which means that is my phone in German. And basically, what I realized is this was probably a random stranger that was just biking in the park. Perhaps even an angel or a manifestation of a spirit guide, because I don't think it was a coincidence they showed up literally right after I set that intention to the universe for help. And now my assailant was trying to make it look for this random bystander as if I had stolen his cell phone. And we were tussling on the ground because I had stolen his cell phone and he was trying to get it back from me. So he started accusing me and trying to take my cell phone. And I got the feeling that this man, since he knew he had already lost and not gotten what he originally wanted from me, right? He was going to take something. He was not going to walk away from this empty-handed. And friends, you better believe I wasn't about to fucking let him. I held my ground, I dug my feet in, and I channeled all of my dragon energy. All of my dragon energy. I felt like I was on fire. If I was in an anime, I would have been covered like in red, burning flames that were expanding. And I looked that man dead in the eyes, and I screamed at him at the top of my lungs with all the authority I could muster. "This is my phone," I said, "and you will not have it. And you will not touch me or anyone else ever again." And in that moment, friends, I felt a release. I felt a shift. I could feel the grief and the rage and the hopelessness of literally every person on this planet who has ever been victimized by SA. Every single person. I could feel the shame. I could feel the guilt. I could feel the sadness, the grief, the rage. I could feel it all. And I looked that fucker dead in the eyes, and I told him, "No, not ever again." And something shifted in his gaze. He was no longer this wild, monstrous creature. He was a scared, confused little boy. And in that moment, I had nothing but love and compassion for that little boy. I knew he couldn't fucking touch me anymore. I was divinely protected. And he backed down, and I walked away, and I returned to my apartment without him or anyone following me. Completely safe, completely unscathed, save for a single earbud that I lost in the tussle. And then the next day I reported that shit to the police. In the past, friends, this sort of thing would have derailed me big time. I would have been lost in fear and trauma, but something was different about this experience. This was not my first experience with SA, by the way. This was maybe like the 4th or 5th time that I can consciously recall where I've dealt with it, but this was by far the worst. And yet, I felt better than I've ever felt in my fucking life. And I have continued to, because I knew a cycle, a pattern, a chain had been broken in that moment. Not just for me, not just for my ancestors, not just for my own past lives, but for you, my friend, for the collective at large. I transmuted that shit so that you no longer have to. And of course, I can't fully transmute that for you because we are all sovereign creator beings and we all have our free will. But all I'm being inspired to ask you to do now is simply to just say aloud, I choose to release this once and for all, and it shall be so. You are free now, my friend. You are so free. You are loved. You are divinely connected, protected, and loved. You are safe, and you are so much more powerful than you realize. This was a psychic attack in a way. The darkness is biting back hard, and it's just going to keep amping up more and more and more over the coming months. It wants us to be scared. It wants us to be in fear. It wants us to be in powerlessness. But know that it literally cannot touch you when you are standing firm in your light and your love and your power. So this is a reminder to remember who you are, what you came here to do and to be. This is an activation. It is your time. It is your time to break the cycles once and for all. It is your time to release the patterns. It is your time to love. This was a sort of assassination attempt by the darkness, if you will, because if you did not know, I'm about to host this very powerful free workshop series that's going to bring a lot of light onto this planet and help a lot of people break free from this poverty consciousness, from this powerlessness. And the darkness didn't like that, so the darkness tried to stop me. It tried to end me. It tried to derail me. So if you're listening, darkness, I have a message for you too. The harder you fight, the more you try to stop me, the louder I'm gonna roar, the brighter I'm gonna shine, and the fiercer I'm gonna love. So much love to you, my friends. Stay strong, be safe out there. The darkness will increase its attacks, yes, but it's got nothing on you. Remember that always. Keep that in your heart. And if you need a little support, if you need a little inspiration, if you need a little more light in your life, then I ask you to join us for my free workshop series. It's called the Quantum Abundance Accelerator. In abundance, a lot of people think it's about money, but it's not so much about money. It's about empowerment. It's about love. It's about freedom. Lack is powerlessness, and abundance is sovereignty. So if you would like help, support, encouragement to step into your sovereignty during these intense, dark, distracting times, you have literally no excuses to join us for QAA because it is free and there will be recordings available. So if you feel called, my friend, then please join us. I beg you, I ask of you, I implore you to do yourself this favor and join us. We kick off tomorrow as of filming this, October 14th. You can sign up on my website and also on my Linktree. So much love. You are a gift to this world. Stay powerful and let me know your stories in the comments.